Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, back. We're together again at last, surrounded with little puffs of loveliness. You know that. You freaking know that. You better know that. Alright, so it's still Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. A lot of stuff to cover with you. Let's start off with the basics. Then we're going to go on to the Federal Reserve and a new system, which I really want to put some light on for you. So markets finished higher across the board. Nothing major. The Russell 2000 was the largest gainer today. Pretty much flat across the board. Otherwise, despite the Federal Reserve, despite the European Central Bank now literally, I'm not making this up, promising to keep rates negative from here to eternity. And I feel terrible for my European friends, for which I've heard a lot from today. And my heart does go out to every single one of you. But I can promise you, my European friends, it's going to get a lot worse here in the United States. Worse than people can possibly imagine. And that's going to lead me to the new system that I want to talk to you about. And you know, before I even finish this video, if I cover anything here that's important, I'd like you to share it. In fact, I'm counting on you to share it if you're a part of my team. You know, just to simplify a few things, I want to read a couple of things to you today that we found out. This is just terrible. I'm going to read this to you, literally. This is verbatim. This is not my words. This is what was reported. Consumer prices rise at the fastest pace in 14 months, led by higher energy prices. Oh, what a shock. You all know about that because I've been explaining this to you for months and months and months. But remember, people, this is me talking. There is no inflation. This is the narrative that must and will be maintained, period. Now, before we get to the Fed, I want to talk about something that maybe a few of you have an idea about. Something called derivatives. We've been hearing about this, or people have been hearing about this for quite a while. What the hell is a derivative anyway? It's something that derives value from something else. You understand? Now, people talk about stock market derivatives, equity derivatives. There's derivatives of everything. All you need is an underlying asset, and then you can have derivatives of it. Not only can you have one layer of derivatives, but there are layers, multiple layers of derivatives. This is why the amount of dollar derivatives is what I really want to talk to you about here, is in the quadrillions. So let me just read a paragraph to you. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to read this to you. It's even better. And it goes back to the new system I want to talk to you about. In fact, you know what? Let's cover that here before we talk about anything else. I'm going to read this to you. This is an article that I wrote on Steemit earlier. So you can, if you want to see this article, just go to my Steemit blog, and you'll see it there. So here we go. The new system, which is coming, which will in no way benefit a single member of the middle class, because the middle class is being eliminated. Poof! Will not exist. In fact, the middle class is already so indebted that without credit, most members of the middle class would immediately fall to the lower rung. That's the truth. We've never seen this before, and I am not making this up. Consumer debt, personal debt, new record high after new record high. Loan defaults are rising. So look, I'm not pulling this out of a hat. These are the facts. Now, let's talk a little bit more about, and this does play together, believe it or not. I want to talk to you about the two-party system, something I scream from rooftops about in this environment. Now, here we go. Pay attention, please. Sit down. What are you getting up for? I can see you. All right. The two-party system has been perverted into a terrible mechanism to divide and rule. And if history has taught us anything, it is that the middle class always pays for it. There are no exceptions here. It does not matter whosoever sits maybe I had it right the first time, whatsoever, because it's a thing that sits in that pretty White House. I'm not referring to President Trump as a thing. I'm talking about any person that sits in that White House is turned into a thing. So let's back up. It does not matter whatsoever who sits in the pretty White House. The world is run by the banks. The rest is a sitcom. I think you know that. At least you should. Let me close out of this. Now let's just move on our lovely way here a little bit. Let's talk about the Fed. So we heard the Fed minutes today. No shock to anyone. There was no changes to it. They're not raising rates. They're not cutting rates. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read this. Fed minutes, rates unchanged for the rest of the year. And economic softness, the economic softness that we're seeing right now is only temporary. You got my little hand gesture there too, huh? You guys are just too slick. You really are. Now, here's another piece of news that we got today. And this is not a shocker at all. But again, it just goes to what we already understand is happening to the middle class. They're being decimated, eliminated, decapitated, and evaporated. Did I say that already? All right. The U.S. consumer prices rebound in March, but wage growth is dropping. So how does that sound great to you? Doesn't sound great to me either. It really doesn't. Now look, I want to talk to you about something else that I got a lot of questions today about. So we know the groundwork is being set up for a rate cut. Now, why isn't the Fed doing it right now? Well, these things have to be allowed to manifest or soak in to the psyche of the average person. It's the boiling frog syndrome. You're being prepared for it, like being prepared for an execution. It's the same thing. Once you accept it, you lay down, you put your head on the chopping block, off comes your head. It's the same kind of mechanism here. So you're being prepared, just like a stew, to serve man. You know what that's from? Yeah, I think most of you already do. So I'm already prepared because I know. And I believe most of you are too, are being prepared for what's coming. Now, so we have this preparation phase right now where you're going to hear about it. It's going to soak in. So when it comes, it doesn't shock anyone. But there's something bigger going on, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Sit down again. Why are you getting up? Am I that boring to you? How about if I make a funny face? Will that help you sit down? Sit down for a moment. Okay. Rate cut. When's the rate cut coming? Being that I don't believe, and I could be wrong on this, that we're going to get it towards the end of the year unless things really go south. Right now, if you have an understanding of how this twisted market works, you know it's rumor driven. It's driven by jawboning, okay? So just the talk or the hint that there's going to be a rate cut down the pike, QE4 looks like it might be coming as well because this environment is not sustainable. All that's propping it up is debt. You understand that, right? Okay. So with that said, the rate cut is going to be kept in the back pocket until it's actually needed after it sinks in to the human psyche. It's brainwashing, and I mean it. I'm not making this up. You are being brainwashed. Now, you need to put up your barriers. How you do that, you begin with turning off the news. You begin with turning off every single network across the spectrum that's trying to divide you. Divide and rule, divide and rule, divide and rule. Well, you're not going to allow that to happen. You're too smart for that. So they're going to keep this rate cut in the back pocket because, again, right now, all the stocks are going up on the prospect that we are going to get a rate cut, that we are going to get a new round of quantitative easing, that the middle class is going to continue to be forced to subsidize the stock market. Again, I covered this earlier today. $500 billion, $500 of a freaking $1 trillion have been robbed, stolen from those people out here who have had a savings account since the financial crisis. You've been robbed blind, but I'd be willing to bet you haven't said a word about it. Maybe, again, it's probably a fraction of you have. You're going to sit back, get greased up, and you're going to take it, and you're going to like it too. Yeah. Anyway, so much for the soft economy, right? Anyway, let's talk further. What we got here is the brainwashing, the setup. Let it sink into the psyche. Then they're going to spring it on you at that point. Because people are ready. They're not going to say anything. So they want to see how this is going to float out there. What are people going to do? Most people are going to do nothing. And they're counting on that. Most people are going to sit back and say, hold on a minute. No, this is not the way it works. The vast majority are not going to do a thing. They're sheep. They've been dumbed down. And they're going to march right into the slaughter, like I was telling you about. Should make sense to you, all of this. So what they're doing now, when the stock market when the rumors aren't helping anymore, when the jawboning isn't helping anymore, when the China trade deal that's going so fantastic, which is not, when that runs out, then they're going to hit you with, okay, we're going to cut rates now, everyone. Market, boom, very stock market positive. They're going to melt the dollar, also very stock market positive. You'll be reaching deeper and deeper and deeper into your pocket just to make ends meet. Because you're not in enough debt yet. You know that, right? You're not in enough debt yet. They need you to really get there before all this kind of manifests itself. This all should make sense to you. And I know I kind of joke around as I'm saying this, but these are deadly serious topics that I kind of try to explain in the most rudimentary way. It's the truth, because this stuff is not hard to understand. They want you to think it's hard to understand. And, everything is being done for your own favor. The new system that some imbeciles on YouTube are pushing, it's part of the plan. Look, don't take this the wrong way. Some people are saviorism, okay? Saviorism is a theme that's been going on since time immemorial. People are always looking for a new type of a savior. They're hoping that the new financial system is going to save them. The new financial system will not benefit anyone, especially members of the middle class who are being decimated and left behind. Persona non grata, don't matter. Two-tier society is manifesting itself right before your eyeballs. That's it. The extreme haves, extreme have-nots. Really should make sense to you what I'm saying, honestly. All right, anyway, with that said, I'd love to hear from you. Did you get anything out of this video, again, or is it just crap? Well, if it isn't crap to you, please share this video, get it out there, let people hear this. Let's make it our freaking mission to get more into the fold here. Let's bring more lions into the pride, more friends, because people, we need each other. And my thing, it's kind of like really my thing. We are all responsible for each other. It's the truth. We're going to need each other as this thing plays out right before our eyes. And I'd like to think that some people are becoming wise to it, but some won't, no matter what you do. Like I said, they can stare into the sun on a bright summer day and not see the light. But with that said, this guy right here, no, me. I love you, I really do. And I will see you in the morning.